Right, Brooks Koepka, has he won it already?
I mean, it's a bit ludicrous to say it, but it's looking ominous. This guy's just unbelievable. Brandel Chambly, you know, the famous golf commentator over in States, he was saying that when Tiger won the Masters, he was saying maybe the only two players who could kind of live with Tiger might be Rory or DJ when Tiger's at his very best. And Koepka took exception to this. And Chambly had a great line yesterday after Koepka shot the 63 at Bethpage Black. He said, it was like somebody giving me the finger for 4.5 hours. Because to shoot a 63 on that course bogey-free is insane. And all of the other golfers came off and said, I don't know how he did it. And I just didn't, you know, nobody saw 63 out there. And when it gets to major, like this guy's a phenomenon. And he has no weakness in his game. Short game's brilliant. His attitude's brilliant. He hits the ball a billion miles. And he did a really interesting press conference a couple of months ago. It was at some nothing PGA Tour event for some godforsaken reason. I was watching his press conference, you know, and they were saying, you know, like you've pretty much won more majors than you have regular tournaments. What's that all about? And he said, without wanting to sound cocky, he said, I just feel I'm so good at this game and I find this game so easy. So easy. If I'm not winning a normal event by like Friday evening, I get peeved off and I get impatient and I start doing stupid things because I think I should be winning. Whereas at a major, I have the respect, you know, it has my respect, and I'm zen for the week, I'm patient for the week, and whatever happens, double bogeys, triple bogeys, I just come back and, you know, make the shots back, and I just hang around. And he's won 3 majors in no time, and he's won them in different ways as well, you know. He's won 2 of them at 16 under. He's won them at +1. He's won a US Open at +1, and the others at 16 under. He's won when he's been leading going into the final round. He's won when he's been behind going into the final round. He's trounced the field by 4 or 5 shots. He's also beaten the field by just 1 shot when it counted at the US Open. There is a real chance that Koepka of the post-Tiger era, so I guess Rory McIlroy is about the eldest of that latest generation, there's a real chance that Koepka's going to come up on the blind side and end up with the most majors.
That was actually going to be one of the final questions, Joe. And personally, I completely agree with you. I think he's kind of starting to edge his way in front of that pack. And those quotes that you mentioned from a couple of months ago are gold, to be honest with you. I don't understand why people find Brooks Koepka to be this very boring character. I think he's a little bit different from them. Like, for anybody who missed it, just to kind of go into them a little bit deeper, he says there's 156 players in the fields generally in a major. So you figure at least 80 of them I'm just going to beat. You figure about half of them won't play well from there. So you're down to about maybe 35. And then from 35, some of them just, pressure's going to get to them. It only leaves you with a few more, and he just got to beat those guys. And then he says, I don't see why I can't get into double digits in the majors. He knows he's a big-time player, and big-time players usually know they're big-time players because they don't bottle it generally when it comes down to it.
Yeah, like, I think he has a certain disdain for golf, you know, and golfers, like, he's a proper jock. If you take it that, you know, Tiger Woods was sort of nerd turned alpha male in his teenage years. Koepka's just an all-round sportsman, and almost, you know, he was so good at golf he couldn't ignore it, kind of thing. So I think he almost has a certain disdain for the sport in some ways, and no respect for it. So he's ambitious. He sees no reason why he shouldn't win lots of majors. We had his coach Claude Harmon on, son of Butch, obviously, on the golf podcast a couple of weeks ago. And so, like, when Koepka first arrived on the scene, he hits he hits the ball a million miles, and he hits these big draws, that kind of right to left shot, which can be harder to control, you know. And so they said, well, we'll teach you to play fade. A lot of the big hitters these days hit fade, you know, the left to right shot, it's easier to control. And they set him up to hit a fade, and they said, right, you just swing as hard as you want now, and it will eliminate the left-hand side of the course. You'll never see that horrible right to left hook ever again. It's just going to be, you know, 2-3 yards of beautiful fade. And he was like, okay. He started thrashing at the ball. And he turned around to Claude Harmon and said, it can't be this easy. Yeah. You know, ever since then, it's just been Rolls Royce stuff. Yeah, he's phenomenal. Like, the distance, the short game, the attitude, he's got the kind of cowboy walk. And, you know, there's this whole Brooks feels underappreciated narrative at the moment because there were a number of tournaments like US Opens where he was leading and he felt nobody even wanted to interview him. But this was before he kind of won the big majors. That kind of that's reached critical mass now. That's like saying Paul Scholes is underappreciated. Brooks Koepka within the game is massively appreciated. And I agree with you, Owen. I think he's a genuinely really interesting character with lots of interesting things to say. He's probably not showbiz, like he's never going to be on the Jimmy Fallon show the way that Tiger or Rory will. But within golf, he's definitely a superstar. And I think he's scaring the lights out of all of them right now.
Yeah, Joe, just saying there, so Paul McGinley was talking the other night a little bit, I think it was to Nathan, around him as well. So the suggestion is that now he's definitely not a flash in the pan. He's not someone that's going to be gone in 2 years' time. You say there, disdain for golf as well. Would there be potential for that further down the line, that he may actually think, well, look, I've got 5 or 6 majors, thanks very much, I'll walk away while the going's good? Or do you actually see him longevity, 10, 15 years down the line, he'll still be competing at major tournaments?
Yeah, I do. I think he loves the majors. I think, you know, they were even saying on TV last night, if contractually he didn't have to play 20, 22 tournaments a year, he probably wouldn't. You know, he would just play the big events. They would get his juices flowing. But yeah, no, absolutely. I think he's ambitious. I think he wants to make his mark in the game in a big way. I think he'll be around for a long time. And I don't think he's a flash in the pan. Generally, Brandel Chambly talks absolute sense about everything, and you just find yourself overawed by his arguments. And you have to agree with him. I was really surprised he thought that Brooks Koepka was just on this brilliant run. You know, he kind of likened it to Harrington's great run where he won those 3 majors in no time. I like, you know, Koepka went in the water at 12 at Augusta. Okay, look, it's a bad mistake to make, obviously, but he was thereabouts again. He followed up that bogey at 12 when everybody else's heads were fried with an eagle on 13. He came right back into it. And his consistency in the majors is frightening. So, yeah, I think he'd be around for a really long time. It's going to be fascinating to see where he ends up.
Yeah, like I think the genesis of the argument that Brooks Koepka is underappreciated is that I think people give him credit in the wrong places. They look at his body shape and they say, well, this guy's just huge and he just bashes the ball longer than everybody else. When in actual fact, what you said there, what Claude Harmon was saying, this guy's actually just ridiculously talented. He's picked up that swing so quickly. He said during the week he sometimes just doesn't remember holes 5 through to 12 because he's too bored. He's that talented that he can get bored in the middle of a round of golf. Like, this guy really, I think, is destined for the very, very top. And like, it's kind of ironic watching him alongside Tiger yesterday. Is there a sense that there is any sort of level of domination coming at all from this guy, that he is so robotic in how he plays the game that it could go to a level where actually Jordan Spieth and Dustin Johnson are actually looking up at this guy by a considerable distance? Interestingly,
I don't think so. I don't think we'll see Tiger dominance again. I think it will be more...
To a certain extent. To a certain, like, obviously it's not going to be Tiger level, but in terms of a gap emerging.
Put it this way, I think when you're sitting down with John Duggan previewing every major for the next 10 years, you'll be saying his name.
Right.
You know, I think you're talking, he's going to be thereabouts. There's no type of golf that won't suit him. There's no type of shot he can't hit. And as you said, it's not just bomb it and kind of, like, he's brilliant scrambler on the golf course. Like, around the greens, he's an artist as well. His putting's really on this week. He said it in that clip earlier that Phil played. But like, his chipping, his scrambling is brilliant. I have to say, on the whole, you know, you mentioned playing with Tiger yesterday. Tiger sort of struggled, and he's physically, he doesn't look right. Actually, I think Augusta's done more to Tiger than we might realise. But I didn't find the golf that exciting, I have to say. The course, Bethpage Black, like, it's just long. So I watched about 3 hours of it yesterday. I can't really remember many of the holes. They all sort of look the same. They're these really long 480-yard par fours. And the rough, you know, like, I get it, you know, they want to penalise people not hitting the fairways, but if you're even 4, 5, 6 yards into that rough, a lot of the time you can only hack the ball out 100 yards, you know? So it just can make for some tedious enough golf. I think come Sunday, if the thing is close, then, you know, the penalties from going to the rough will make things quite exciting. But at the moment, we're seeing a lot of lads just hacking out of the rough. I'm just never sure about that type of golf where a few yards off the fairway, 300 yards down there, you're kind of hacking one out 100 yards or 50 yards. It just, with Koepka leading already, take Danny Lees next to him. Danny Lees not going to last. He was number 1 in putting yesterday. That's not going to last a week. Like, he's 4 shots of Fleetwood. He's about 6 shots clear of the real quality chasing pack, like Fowler and Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson and Jason Day are all hovering in 1 under, which under any other circumstances at Bethpage Black would be a good score. Like, 6 shots, you know. You would love if it was a golf course where they felt they could put a bit of a run on him and you know, like Augusta, pick up 3, 4 birdies at some stage. So at the moment, if Koepka kind of keeps things steady, that bunch are going to have to fight so hard to catch him. I think they are now relying on him to come back into him. So, you know, often the agenda is of a major is set on day one if it's going to be a front runner. We have that kind of a situation, I think. It's all eyes on Koepka to see what he does.